Outlet Liquor is your place to buy a case. Stock up and save when you shop the lowest prices available every day at Outlet Liquor. You never have to wait for a sale. The more you buy, the more you save. Only at Outlet Liquor.
What's your outlet?
Folks, welcome to a very slick Saturday special edition. Today I'm joined by a very special guest. He is the Ultimate Fighter middleweight division season 29 champion with a 7-1 pro record, 5 wins by way of submission, 1 by TKO, coming off a rear naked choke victory over his teammate Gilbert Urbina, fighting on February the 5th against Trayshawn Gore. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Bryan Battle. Bryan, how are we doing, my man?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you for having me today.
Absolutely. Thank you for taking the time. First question, if you don't mind explaining to the fans, it might be a bit new to your game. How did you acquire the nickname Pooh Bear?
Oh man, it's silly, man. It's really it's a silly story. I was talking junk to one of my teammates. We were getting ready for fights. This is way back. I was in a training camp for my second amateur fight, and you know, he didn't have any good comebacks. You know what I'm saying? I was roasting him. So he was like, okay, Pooh Bear. And one of my other teammates started laughing. I said, bro, don't call me Pooh Bear. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, I want to, you know, if you're going to call me something badass or something like that, or something actually insulting, like the Pooh Bear, you know, that just wasn't it for me. But of course, right. The moment I said, don't call me Pooh Bear, started like slowly growing and spreading. And then before the actual fight, because I still didn't put it down as a nickname, the ring announcer was coming around checking all the fighters' names, and he was like, he was making sure he could pronounce everything right. He was like, Bryan Battle, and I was like, yeah. And my coach leaned over and not so discreetly whispered to the ring announcer. He said, his nickname's Pooh Bear. You know what I'm saying? And he was the ring announcer was like, you gotta be fucking me, right? And he was like, that's the best fucking thing I've heard all day.
Oh, so awesome.
And so yeah, they went back, made a bunch of jokes. I listened to it the next day. I thought it was kind of funny. So, you know, and now here we are.
Unexpectedly worked out, yeah. Did you happen to hear Bisping's comments for your finale when you were walking out about the nickname?
Yeah, man, I'm not concerned about, you know, what does Bisping know about nicknames? His nickname's the count. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you know,
of course.
Yeah, I'm not too concerned about.
Not the craziest thing Michael Bisping has ever said, for sure.
No, not at all.
As well as a fighter, you're a husband and now recently a father. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you, sir.
We got a bit of perspective during tough, but how hard was that being away from your family for that 4-week period? Around there?
It was 6 weeks altogether, 5 weeks in the house. It was weird, man. I mean, I'll tell you, you're doing enough to keep your mind preoccupied, but every once in a while, you know what I'm saying? Like, you just kind of like mention something in a conversation. Like for me, there'd be like periods of times where I like would just have to like leave where everyone is and like go off by myself. Cause like, you know, we just brought something up and it would just like trigger a bunch of memories of my family and how much I missed them. You know what I'm saying? It's not something that at least me, I was thinking about all the time, but every once in a while it would hit me. I'd be like, ah, shit, dude. I got a whole family back home. I miss my people. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, I was there for a reason. And so, you know, most of the time I was focused on the goal.
Absolutely. Yeah. Completely understand. And how has fatherhood been so far, by the way?
Man, fatherhood's been crazy, man. It's been awesome. You know, it's one of those things where, you know, you have a baby. I'm like, man, dude, this is cool. I see why people do this. You know what I mean? It's definitely hard. It's a challenge. But, you know, if you're willing to like step up and like make the changes necessary to raise a child, it's so rewarding. You learn so much about yourself, and, you know, there's just so many things put in perspective. It's really probably the greatest thing I've ever been involved in ever. So I'm very happy. Very happy.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm very glad for you. That's awesome. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I understand when you first walked into an MMA gym, you were around 280 pounds.
Yeah. Really, the very first time I walked in, I was probably almost 300, but I
Wow.
crashed my car the next day, so I
Oh,
couldn't afford
wow.
the tuition. So I actually went and lost some weight before I went back to training because I almost threw up the very first time I went. You know what I'm saying? And so I was like, okay, I got to get in shape. So, I was like running and stuff like that. And so, yeah, I was like 280 when I actually signed up and started training.
Right. And I saw a lot of your amateur fights too were at light heavyweight around 205. When did you realize that middleweight would be the right fit for you and your style of fighting when you started taking it real seriously?
Um, it was never really something that I felt like I needed to do until I felt like I could make the weight. Like once my weight got low enough that I was like, I think I could make 85. It just
Right.
there's something about it. I know people hate cutting weight. You know, Joe Rogan talks about how he wants the sport to be done with it all the time. You know, I think there's something about it. There's something spiritual about cutting weight. You know what I'm saying? You got to pay the cost to be the boss. You know what I'm saying? You got to,
Yeah, right.
make those sacrifices, do those things that normal people wouldn't want to do, wouldn't be able to do if you want to be the best. So, it was something where once I felt like I was in range, I was like, maybe I should take a fight at 185. And my coach was like, all right, can you make it? I was like, yeah, I can make it. He was like, all right, you got to fight at 185. I was like, oh, and I was like, oh shit, I got to get down to 85. So, and as an amateur, that was all. Like there wasn't one fight after like 3 fights where we weren't experimenting and figuring things out. Like we were just taking fights and just learning. You know what I'm saying? Or I was learning. My coaches were not. The 85 to 205 thing didn't really matter as much. I feel like I could compete at 205 in the UFC. It's just a little bit easier to handle 85ers. You know what I'm saying? Way a little bit less. They're not as tall. So it's
I
just things of
understand.
that nature.
Are you naturally around 205?
Um, Generally, my comfortable weight is 215.
Gotcha.
Like I was the biggest guy in the house by a
Yeah,
long shot.
right.
So yeah, no, I'm normally walking now after the fight. Like right now, I'm walking about in the low 200s right now. Just because I've been able to train at a different level and eat better. So I'm a little bit leaner now, leaner and stronger. But yeah, I'm still about the same size.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's interesting. I've heard a couple fighters say they like that religious type of cutting weight. That's really interesting. You've got 5 pro wins by submission. Your ground game looked extremely slick on the show, I must say. And you and a couple other teammates expressed how cool it was to learn under BJJ legend Craig Jones. What was that like for you learning, gaining pointers from him, and being able to work under a legend like him alongside the featherweight champion, no doubt?
See, I mean, and that's the almost. It was like we had such a spoil of riches. Like you're like, oh, okay, what can I get today? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're just constantly just trying to take in information, like any way possible. Um, for me, it was tough because I spent the bulk of my time either helping someone prepare for a fight or preparing for a fight myself. So I didn't get to just learn. Most of my stuff was situational and game plan stuff. But, like I said, I picked up things where I could. The rear naked choke, I was able to hit in the finale. Like that was something I got a tip from directly from Craig on. So, Craig's just good people. You know what I'm saying? They're all just good people. So, from what I learned on the show, I wouldn't have learned nearly as much as I would have liked to, but going on to the future, especially after all this COVID stuff settles down and I can start traveling more, I'm really looking forward to like being able to go and actually like just spend time training with them, not
Yeah,
getting ready for a fight, but just training and learning.
yeah, for sure. I mean, there was other big name guys that I'm sure you gained some insight from. We had Cowboy Cerrone helping out with Team Volkanovski. We had Michael Chiesa. Was there anyone else, either of those guys or anyone else behind the scenes that you took anything away from? I know Chiesa was talking shit to Team Ortega during that team meeting. I loved that episode. That was awesome.
Yeah, because I mean, it's like it's one of those weird things where you're trying to like, as a fighter, you're trying not to be disrespectful to like these people who've been up there, but I mean, their one coach was really getting out of control. Like Ortega's whole coaching staff, they were all really kind of obnoxious. But I'm serious, man, they were.
Oh, I was watching, man. I know.
But outside of those guys, there was I'm drawing a blank on his name. He's in the UFC. He's not a big name in the UFC yet, but he's from Australia. So before his fight, him and some of his teammates came and they were in there with us. And, on the coaching staff still, we had, coaches from Tiger Muay Thai there. You know what I'm saying? Volk's coach was there. You know what I'm saying? It was just always, there was never a reason that you shouldn't have been able to take something away every day. You know what I mean?
For sure. Was it inspiring to see how Volk carries himself as a champion, but not only as a coach for you guys?
Not as much inspiring, but more as like, okay, it's more like that's what you have to do. You know what I'm saying? It's like, this is what, at a bare minimum you have to do if you want to compete at a championship level, if you want to be someone like Volk. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was always professional. He's always working hard. You know what I mean? He was training, they were all dripping sweat while we're walking in to start our training session. You know what I'm saying? Like, the professionalism, the dedication, the discipline, all those things. It was more of all right, this is what you have to do day in, day out if you want to be one of the best in the world.
Right. And I think I know the answer to this, but so I'll put a little twist on it. What are your takeaways of Bryan Ortega after the show and then after the brawl that they had for that featherweight title?
It's like Ortega, I mean, once again, he wasn't my coach. It wasn't like we talked a whole lot. He didn't have a whole lot of nice things to say about me while I was on the show. I thought that we had a moment, but, just seeing the way that, he didn't have one good thing to say about me the entire time we were on the show. I really have respect for him as a fighter. So seeing those two fight each other, that didn't really do much for me because, it went how I thought it was going to go. I thought Volk was going to just have too much of a variety of an attack. He was going to be too disciplined, and his pace was going to be too high. You know what I mean? And Ortega was who I thought he was going to be. And so, as a fighter, the respect is still there. I didn't really learn anything new, but personally, I'm not going to go out of my way to be buddies with him. You know what I'm saying? I know it is what it is. He was the coach of the other team. He's not supposed to like me, but, he's thinking about other things. He's not thinking about me. I'm not thinking about him. I don't think that's going to change anytime soon.
Right. And so obviously finale, things changed. You were scheduled to fight Tresean Gore of Team Ortega, highly touted from Team Ortega, I must say too, and ended up fighting Gilbert Urbina as Tresean got injured. Right after that news hit, and obviously you were going in with the mindset that I'm going to win the Ultimate Fighter, and then you end up winning. Did you have in your head the whole time that you would eventually be facing Tresean down the line? And even when you guys got drafted to the show, was there a point where you're like, I'm probably going to be fighting this guy at some point down the line?
Well, it's interesting. Me and Tresean, we come from the same regional scene. Like, there's been a couple of times we almost got matched up on the regional scene. So it's one of those things where it feels like, on one hand, you could say it feels like this fight is meant to happen. On the other hand, it feels like this fight is not meant to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just crossing my fingers and hoping that we get to, bang on the 15th. I mean, not the 15th, the 5th. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, like me personally, there's nothing, about this matchup that is, drawing me in personally. To me, it's just another fight. It's another chance I get to prove people wrong. Trayshawn's just another person that I got to go take out, in the way of my mission. So, um, I mean, hopefully it happens. But if it doesn't, I'm fighting someone on the 5th. You know what I mean? And,
Sure.
if Trayshawn wants to fight, I'm always ready to fight. I'm always game for that fight, but I'm not looking for that fight. You know what I mean?
Right. So you said prove people wrong. Do you feel like you need to prove people wrong in terms of the Ultimate Fighter with Trayshawn getting replaced by Urbina, or in your head you're the Ultimate Fighter, right? Trayshawn's just another guy that you're fighting?
Yeah, my mom always used to say this when we were growing up. The only thing I need to do is stay black and die. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing I need to do. You know what I'm saying? I don't need to prove anybody wrong, but I really enjoy proving them wrong. You know what I'm saying? I go to sleep with a big old smile on my face after, taking a dump on a bunch of people's opinions. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe it's the inner troll in me. I don't know. But, I love the sport anyways. I love proving things to myself. And if I can, prove things to other people too, it's part of the experience for me. So it's not something I feel like I need to do. I'm the Ultimate Fighter, it is what it is. But there's people out there who think that he can beat me. And so, after February 5th, I don't think anyone's going to be saying that.
I tend to agree with you, sir. I noticed with your fight with Urbina, before the fight, you walked out to WWE Hall of Famer Triple H's music, The Game by Motorhead. Were you a pro wrestling fan at all growing up, or is that just your walkout song? Because that's just badass.
Well, it is my walkout song because it's badass, but the only reason I know it is because I was a wrestling fan growing up. And then I listened to it as an adult and I was like, wow, this song is badass. What?
No doubt.
Like, holy cow.
No doubt.
No, yeah, as like a kid, I wasn't allowed to watch wrestling as a kid. But I had 5 sisters. And so my parents put a TV in my room so I could play video games. Me and my sisters wouldn't argue about TV time. And that TV had 2 channels. One channel that I could play games on and one channel that would play Friday Night SmackDown every week. So, I would stay up late at night and turn the volume all the way down and watch SmackDown every week. And so, wrestling will always hold a near and dear spot in my heart. You know what I'm saying? I love that shit. Anytime there's a live show, I'm trying to go to that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm the same way. And I'm also under the impression you're an anime fan as well.
Big anime fan, yes sir.
Did that and maybe wrestling both play into your love for mixed martial arts at all?
Dude, it's one of those weird things where I don't know if you've ever like looked back at the stuff that you enjoyed as a child and you're like, oh, now I understand why I do. Like literally my favorite show growing up was Dragon Ball Z. I'm not the only one, but I would come home every day, stop what I was doing, basketball game, football game, didn't matter. I'm stopping what I'm doing. I'm coming inside, watching Dragon Ball Z every day. Goku. I wasn't a Vegeta fan. You know what I'm saying? I was a Goku fan because I just wanted to train hard, get better, and eat food. You know what I'm saying? I didn't care about all that extra I didn't care about character development. Screw that, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, anime is just, I feel like, especially as an adult, there's something just like wholesome and like positive and like, the general message of the anime for the most part is, surpass your limits. Like, you know what I'm saying? Keep striving, be the best version of you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's something that, resonates with me, that I think it resonates with me different than it does other people sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally understand. Any takeaways from your performance against Urbina? I thought it was awesome. I really enjoyed watching. I know I personally made some money off you as I do a betting show for Trainwreck Sports. So I plugged people as well. What was the experience like? First pro UFC bout, and anything you took away from the performance?
Well, there wasn't much difference because it was in the Apex, so that's where we did all of our tough fights. Obviously it was different because there was commentators and there was a little bit of a crowd, nothing crazy. And I was fighting someone who I was very, very familiar with. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was a guy I literally trained with twice a day, every day for 5 weeks. So it was just cool, man. You know what I'm saying? It was like, all right, I'm here now. You know what I'm saying? I can finally, I've been telling people for a long time, you know what I'm saying? This is where I was going to be. And, whether people thought I was crazy, whether, people thought it was out of reach, it's like, I'm here now. You know what I'm saying? I knew I wasn't going to let that opportunity slip by. So it was just a matter of just making it happen in that fight, because, Gilbert's a tough guy. He fought the way that he was supposed to in that fight. But, I'm just different. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's hard to explain, what I bring when I fight as opposed to all the other guys. But, the fight, it's only competitive until I figure you out. And once I figure it out, the fight's a wrap. You know what I'm saying? And so it was a lot of fun. But with that being said, this one's going to be a lot more fun because I'm so much better. You know what I'm saying? I'm so much better. I'm better physically, better technically.
No doubt.
My fight IQ is better. My body looks better. You know what I'm saying? Every aspect. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited.
Like we said, February 5th, the fight versus Trayshawn. Is that scheduled to be at the Apex as well? I believe so, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir,
Okay.
at the Apex.
And do you feel like you have Trayshawn figured out? You were talking about, till I figure you out, then it's a wrap. Do you feel like you haven't figured out, or?
So, it'd be easy to say that. It'd be easy to say that because, like I said, I've been watching Trey's tape for a long time. And he does a lot of things very well, but he doesn't do a bunch of different things. He does a few things very well. With that being said, I'm expecting him to come in with a couple new tools, expecting him to come in with some shit to surprise me. So, we're going to go in there. We'll fill him out for the first, minute or so, see what, he's got in his bag of tricks. And after the fight settled down, that's, when we'll start picking it up and start looking for the finish.
For sure. So you see that fight playing out quite well in your favor then, I must say. Yeah.
There's a million different scenarios, a million different ways the fight could go. Me and my team was prepared for every different scenario. But, like I said, this is what I do. You know what I'm saying? The first round's the qualifier round. You know what I'm saying? That's the round where, we figured out if you deserve to be there in the first place. You know what I'm saying? If you get out of there, then, by the time usually the second round rolls around, I have a plan formulated in my head how to get you out of there. So that's what I'm aiming for. That's what I'm going to try to do. And I believe I will be able to pull that off on February 5th.
Awesome, man. Can't wait. Kind of a wild card question before we go here. You're from North Carolina. Are you a Panthers fan or any football team in the playoffs? Super Bowl prediction?
All right, so I'm a New York Giants fan.
Okay.
My dad's from Jersey, and he just raised me as a Giants fan. As far as the playoffs go, I have no Super Bowl predictions. I mean, I feel like just because I haven't watched enough this year, like as soon as the Giants were just kind of trash, I just kind of stopped paying attention.
Right.
But if I'm making a pick, I'm picking Green Bay out of the NFC.
Okay.
I feel like that's a relatively safe pick.
I like that.
And out of the AFC is a tough one. I'm going Buffalo. I think Buffalo.
My man.
Come on, man.
My man.
It's got to be. It's either the Buffalo or the Patriots, and it'd be really weird if the Patriots did it.
That's a first round matchup too tomorrow.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a great game tomorrow night in Buffalo. As you know, we're Buffalo Sports Media Groups. We're all looking forward to that.
There you go.
Bryan, thank you so much for your time, man. We at Trainwreck, as well as myself, look forward to rooting for you on your journey to become UFC champion. It's been an honor. One more question for you. Bryan Battle, does this train ever stop?
Never, baby. Never,
yes,
ever.
Sir. You heard it here first, folks. We got 3 last words for you. Good night now.
Outlet Liquor is your place to buy a case. Stock up and save when you shop the lowest prices available every day at Outlet Liquor. You never have to wait for a sale. The more you buy, the more you save. Only at Outlet Liquor.
What's your outlet?